Hi, this recording is for History of Modern Thought, and in this video I'm going to be talking about humanism. Well, I will be talking about this humanism in relation to Indonesian context because I'm going to be relating this philosophy to religion a lot. So let's start from some questions. What will be your answer if somebody asks you, who created the world? Well, in Indonesian context, we're going to be answering this question as God did. So God created the world. And when you get another question, like where are you going after you die, for example, and our answer will be also about God, which means that, okay, I'm going to the afterlife, or I'll go back to God, and so on. So there are many similar questions, but the point is that our answer after we die here, there is an afterlife or the other life. Now, what about some other questions? When you also get other questions, something like, what is the purpose for us to be here? Why are we here? The answer is also relating to God usually, in which I'm here to glorify God. I'm here to perform responsibilities bestowed to me or given to me by God, and so on. And how do you know which is right and which is wrong? This answer also relates to the scriptures. Well, I know what is right from the scriptures, or from the Bible for the Christians and from the Quran for the Muslims. And how do you know which one is wrong? And we also know this from the scriptures. So this will be our answers when we get questions like this. Now, will all people in the world answer these questions the same way, or give the same answers to this? Of course not. So there will be people in the world, when answering questions like this, they do not refer to powers outside humans, or human ability, or human mind. So they don't refer to supernatural being. They don't refer to transcendental sources for the questions at hand. Now, this is what is called as humanism. So in humanism, or for the humanists, the focus is on the human beings, on the people. So in explaining the world, yeah, in answering difficult questions that we're looking for, they refer to the human themselves. Okay, they refer to man, okay, not to God or not to other supernatural beings. That's how they answer these questions. So what does it mean by focusing on human beings? Well, it simply means that we focus, or the humanists focus on human values, human agency, or things related to this. So in answering questions like what is wrong, for example, they don't refer to the scriptures, but they refer to the human themselves, to moral systems, what are accepted by people right now and what are not accepted by people right now. So by using logical reasoning, by using reasoning itself, they try to answer these questions. So for human values, what is the most important one for us? Well, for the believers, it is to come to get to heaven, to be there, and not to go to hell. But for the humanists, because they don't believe in such things, the answer will be different. They would say that, well, the most important one for me is to create something that will make people after me remember me when I die. I will do my best for my family, for example. I'll take care of my children, and that's all. Or I'll do something for the humanity, for the sake of humanity alone. So there's nothing to do with religious points of view in answering these questions. So, in other words, humanism is more like an intellectual movement, okay? And it's called as intellectual movement because they rely on science over revelation. Okay? Because when people refer to the scriptures, it means that because the scriptures were obtained from God by revelation, so it means that we rely on revelation in answering questions related to the necessities and problems of human beings. But for the humanists, they don't use these things. They don't go to supernatural sources when answering questions. So they go to humans, they go to man, which means that they go to science. So when answering who created the world, the answer is not God, but the answer is more like what science can explain for now. And they will also, like when they don't know something, they will say, we don't know. So how the world is created, but they will give you possible explanations that are subject to change or to review or to arguments. So when there are better theories to defeat these present theories, and they will accept that. That's how they explain the world. So they rely more on science in giving solutions to problems and so on. Maybe I can give you another example, like for the believers, for example, when you get sick, going to see the doctor and to hospital is not the only way. There are some other ways that you can do also, which is praying, for example, or you go to the hospital but you pray too. But for them, they just rely to the medicines, to the doctors to solve these diseases that we suffer from. It's like that. Now, so there are many figures actually that propose and also support this humanism. There are Auguste Comte, Friedrich Nietzsche, and then maybe for now the most well-known one, I think for now at the present, is Richard Dawkins, and then there are also Christopher Hitchens, Sam Harris. For Auguste Comte, for example, he's known for some principles, one of which is living for others. Well, we have mentioned earlier that in this school of thought, the humanists do not believe in God, so they think differently from us when they say, I live for God, or I live to do the ordinances or the orders from God. But for this one, it's like, no, I live for people. I live for other people. So why I'm here is to help other people, to do something useful, to do something to help people in need, things like that. So to live for others, or this leads to what is called as altruism too. It's altruism in which the the best way to die, we can say, is to die for other people, for the sake of humanity, to help other people, which is also known as altruistic suicide. For example, when you commit yourself, or other people commit suicide for the sake of other people. We can see this a lot in heroic movies, for example. And then we talk about Richard Dawkins. He wrote a lot of books about that carries or that support humanisms, and one of them, the most well-known one, is The God Delusion. As you can see from the title, well, it's about the fact that God, to which the believers believe in, is only a delusion, and this implies that to answer questions, we do not need such supernatural explanation, but we need to go to what we can see through senses and science. Now, Friedrich Nietzsche posed an idea well known as Homo superior or superhuman. From this idea, it is said that evolution should not be considered as something that has stopped. So it should be considered as something as continuing, still going on, because human beings keeps evolving to better and better and better states. So here, it means that, like, because when we relate to our ancestors, it's the facts are that we get better and better and better, and this is really logical to conclude that in the future, the next generations are going to be much better than we are right now. However, this superhuman idea is not like what we, even though it's related to the movies and also novels and anything out there related to superhuman or Superman, for example. But it is not in that way, but it's more like psychologically, in which we are defined better and better from now to the future. So this is because humans have the tendency to reject or to be against old ideas, including they rebel against moral codes, and this is addressed in humanity. We have the will to power, and then we manifest our ability. We overcome bad ideas. We solve and we create more ideas which are better than the previous ones. So it's also known as self-overcoming. So this means that this idea is talking about the most advanced person of tomorrow. So there are some points that we need to consider when it comes to humanism. The first one is that humanism focuses on human values and human concerns. So this means that when we talk about values, we don't take into account religious values, for example, when it's against human values. What is best for people, when considering what is best for people, so we'll just rely on human values itself and human concerns. And then it also affirms some notion of human nature. So in religion, for example, we tend to neglect some human nature, or we tend to not to bring it up. We have to cover it because they are not good. However, in humanisms, they look into these characteristics a lot, and using science, using other approaches to judge whether this nature is natural. When it's natural, and then it's allowed to happen. And then they also affirm that human virtue can be created by human reason apart from traditional religious institutions. So what this means is that, for example, in religion, we believe that virtue and good things and wisdom are always from supernatural sources. But the humanists do not believe this. What they hold is that human beings can create their own virtues. They can look into themselves, they can think, and then they decide what is good and what is bad. And then humanism is also regarded as deification or idolatry of man. So of course this is from other side of other group of people. So because it plays attention so much on humans, so it means it's a kind of deification of human beings or idolatry of man. And then another point that we can see from here is that it seems like in humanism that man is the measure of all things. So whatever the question is, so human is the answer, man is the answer. So it always refers to science. What can human understand, or what can people understand from five senses, and what can be supported by logical thinking, reasoning, and also science. There's also statements that we need to see here in relation to humanism, is that it says gods are clever, righteous, wholehearted, but comply with human. This implies that instead of God created human, it's more like human created God. And we can, if we see the word comply, this means that, well, God is more like the characteristics and the nature of God will be what the people say it to be, or explains it to be, something like that. So we can say that also in humanism, human is the God in the world. And the idea of God in religion, we can say as dead, because they don't believe in God, or there's no God because we cannot prove that from by using science. So here we can say that humanism is a non-religious movement, and it's aligned with secularism in the end, and then it's non-theistic life stance. It means that there is no way that to answer questions or to address cases in this world that can be related to theistic point of view, because it's more like a theistic point of view. So this means that because in Indonesian context, most of us are believers or theists, humanism should be taken into account very carefully, with the sense that you have to be aware of the implications of this philosophy on your own religion believes. Okay, whatever your religion is, so you have to be careful about the implications of this philosophy and its principles to your own belief. And this talk is not made against humanism and not also against religion. So it's more like a descriptive explanation on what humanism is, and I relate to religion a lot so that we can see the differences between humanism and religion. Thank you.